We've been recording this whole time.
All right. Hello. Welcome to Flick This Movie. I'm Brian Glass.
And I am René Garcia.
Today we're going to be reviewing Aladdin, the 2019 live action version. You know it would be really great right now, don't you, René?
Tell me, Brian.
You want to roll that trailer?
No, not this time, actually. It's a conscious decision. But let me just say, I am happy to be back on the main computer that has been rebuilt. Or, I don't know, this is like all new parts. So, philosophically, is it the main computer or is it a brand new computer?
It's both. There's no answer.
There's no answer.
Hey, Renee, tonight we are recording during the Democratic debate.
Oh, yes, we are.
And I'm curious if we're actually going to have ourselves a little debate about this movie.
Wow, look at that tie-in.
I'm telling you, man, I'm all about the segue. Hey.
Yes, you are. You're a little punchy tonight.
A little bit, yeah. You want to go ahead and start us off? Tell us what you thought of Aladdin.
Yes.
Live.
So, first of all, Brian, as you have probably surmised, or maybe not, why I pushed back our recording time. It's because I forgot to watch the movie.
Oh, no, I didn't know. That's
So it's all fresh.
Super fresh.
Super fresh, bro.
Hang on, Brian. Hang on just a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
What part are we talking about? Okay, hang on. I'm watching at 2x speed right now, bro. Okay, so.
That's great.
Wow. Overall impression is it was a movie that didn't need to be made. I didn't think it represented the original truly animated film properly, or at least in the way I would want it to be represented with live action. I felt like things were happening because the filmmakers knew that they needed to happen next. And here's where I first felt this feeling. And let me just finish the thought first, actually. Things were happening not organically, but because the filmmakers knew where the story was going. And the first time I felt that was when Aladdin is trapped in the Cave of Wonders after Jafar betrays him.
Spoiler alert.
Well, it's a remake, bro. It's fine. If you haven't seen it, then too bad. Too bad if you don't know the story. So yeah, no spoiler break, so no singing and dancing tonight.
Everyone dies.
Everyone dies. It's a slight twist on the original story. Anyway, so when Aladdin is trapped, there's no moment of, oh man, let me get my bearings. Like, oh, let me feel around. Is there any way to escape? I don't know. Oh, we might be trapped in here forever, right? There's no sense of panic. There's no rising tension there. Nothing. It's just, we got to look for a way to get out, right? Does this make sense, Brian? There's no, it's not. There's
they had
nothing.
the script.
Huh?
They knew what was going to come next on the script.
That's the point I'm making, though. It's like,
No, I know what you're saying. I felt it was more in the lead-ins to the songs. We're going to set the stage for the song, and now we're jumping into the song. I felt like that was not really organic either.
I mean, I can live with that because that's a staple of musicals.
Sure.
Right? It's like, okay, they're leading up to the song. Here it comes. But I haven't seen the original Aladdin in probably decades now. But right. I have a sense that, when I watched it as a youth, that they did take the time to build that kind of, the mystery. Let me just back up. I think the first time I felt what I'm describing right now is in the opening credits. When, when Jafar is at the Cave of Wonders for the first time with the first poor soul who gets swallowed up by the cave, right? I vaguely remember in the original, that moment is drawn out, right? The cave is talking and it's moving and, it's all animated. And then the guy goes in there and just sucks him in. And then Jafar is just in disgust, right? Here it's it's all thrown away. It's you don't even know what the cave is saying. Diamond in the rough. If you'd never seen the original cartoon, you have no idea what's going on. Just some guy walking in there. Just walking in there. What? What happened?
Did you get past the intro? I just want to make sure you saw the whole movie.
I did.
Okay,
I did
good.
see the whole movie, Brian. But I did watch that part over and over again, which is why I needed the delay. It was an hour of rewinding. What is it saying?
I couldn't make out the first thing that the mountain said. Do you recall? Softball. Oh.
Yes. Anyway, yeah. So that was my first complaint. The second emotion I felt was that this was not. It really should have been directed by someone who is familiar with or who has the experience of directing musical movies. I just felt like the numbers weren't as big as they could have been. Like the big one that I thought could have been amped up even more was when Prince Ali is coming in for the first time. And it's this big number, and you got all these different, groups dancing and doing crazy stuff. That should have been like way over the top with, more cuts to different people doing some crazy stuff and more like confetti in the air, all of that. But I just felt it was a lot smaller than it should have been.
Interesting.
Oh, you disagree, Brian?
With that aspect, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like it was. I may get into it a little bit later, but I did feel like those moments were actually pretty enjoyable for me, and I liked that it looked like it was semi-possible. The things that we were saying, semi-possible.
Okay.
I felt like the staging and the direction there was interesting. Like I thought that was really cool. I don't have a good reference of the original. I remember watching it way back when, and I think it was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Robin Williams being like eccentric Robin Williams. So, I didn't leave like a great taste in my mouth, but
yeah,
I remembered it like it was a good enough movie. But that being said, I felt like this iteration of it in terms of the visuals to me, it was very pleasing. I really thought they did a great job. I mean, from a color perspective, and all the things that we're seeing, you don't really see that outside of Bollywood. And I thought it was, or maybe some of the, when they're going like for specific color palettes and like, I can't think of movies like, it's like the martial arts movies where they have like, this is the blue section, the red section, the yellow section. They'll do things like that. And again, it's escaping me, but I thought, visually I was pretty interested in the movie.
Okay. Well, visually, I thought it was fine, but I'm talking about the way a movie musical, at least the ones that I've seen and enjoyed, it just didn't have the same kind of snap and grandiosity that I would have wanted from a movie musical live action. So here's a perfect example. When I think of the movie Chicago, right, like. It doesn't have a lot of necessarily, big numbers that require that many people as you would see in this Prince Ali number. But they're able to make it full of energy through the camera movements and the choreography that I felt was missing here. And I don't know if that was because they were trying to keep it in line with the original movie, with like the things that we had seen previously in the cartoon. And so therefore it constrained them. I just felt like, you have live actors, you have dancers. Let's really do it. Let's turn it into, a well choreographed, well danced scene. And I just felt they fell short of that. Now, when we're talking about, since we're talking about visuals, I was leery about how Will Smith was going to look as the genie. And I'm disappointed, or rather, my disappointment was met when he transforms from the genie into a normal person. Like even in the middle, when he has to like be in his disguise, I thought, okay, fine, because it's just Will Smith. But as the CGI thing walking around or floating around, I thought it looked really bad, mainly because the only thing that is Will Smith, at least as far as I can tell, is his face, right? It's like it's that whole deep fake feeling, like they just glued his face onto this CGI body or some other actor's body that's been CGI'd in, because the arms, there's something wrong with the arms, bro. They're like 6 inches too short, you know? They're just like weird, like the elbows are like way up here at the bicep, you know, and the forearms all like shrunk. Yeah. And I'm like, what happened? It's so easy. Just have Will Smith without a shirt and then chop off his legs with CGI. Wait, you know, have him wear the green screen pants, right?
They made him like super buff sometimes too, like super buff.
Yeah, right, totally. Like when he's doing the lifting the weights thing, I'm like,
no,
what?
just other times when he's just like he's around. I'm like, why are his shoulders like this?
Right. Just the traps like coming out of his ears. Like,
I can't hear you over my muscles.
Yeah. So that was distracting, but you know, I got used to it.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do I want to say? I thought Jafar was miscast. Like, you know, when you think of Jafar, at least from the cartoon, he's like the epitome of evil, right? Just always calculating and just narrow eyes, just always observing and just being evil and conniving. And this guy just, you know, he just felt kind of like nerdy. I'm a nerdy guy. And his, you know, he didn't have like the evil voice. You know what I mean? It was a little too high pitched. I can't fault the actor for physical things he can't change. I just felt like they needed someone who was intimidating, you know, who has the angular face, the gaunt angular face.
Yeah.
You know, a little more archetypal. And I wanted his staff to be longer, but he had to keep like holding it up to keep it in frame. I'm like, that is bad. Whoever created that prop, is that, you know, it's like, that sucks. Because you can just imagine they were shooting for like a day, and his staff was always like down here, and you're only getting the top of the head of the snake. And Guy Ritchie was like, it's out of frame.
Or make it really short and just make that, you know, a funny thing.
Yeah, it's like a cane. But yeah, that was just annoying to me the whole time. It's like, why do you have a staff that's too short? Who holds a staff like this? Like, I needed to hear it clanking on the stones as he walked. That would have been, you know, that would have added a little bit to the character. Like, you could, as an actor, there's so much you can do when you have something you have to lean on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was disappointed there. What else?
It's too fresh now. It's too fresh in your mind.
No, I know. Well, you know, I didn't like I thought the guy, Aladdin, I'm sorry I didn't have time to look up who the actor is, but
Mina Masoud.
I didn't think, like, I wanted everyone to have more, you know, Middle Eastern kind of accents, I guess. And, you know, he was just kind of like, hey, I'm from America, or whatever. And I know the Aladdin from the cartoon also has a westernized kind of voice, but since we're going all the way here with live action, you know, it's just weird to have like these different accents melded into one here, into one setting. So
might as well just cast a blonde, huh?
Yeah,
some blonde guy, surfer. Hey,
yeah. How you doing?
Surfing out of the cave.
Right, he's surfing with the magic carpet, using it like a surfboard.
Exactly. The cave's like Cave's trying to say something as he's exiting his mouth. What's he saying?
Diamond in the rough, bro.
I'm in the rough, bro.
I didn't like the new edition of the song for Jasmine. And the way she sings it, it's all very poppy. You know, I will not be silenced. Yeah, exactly.
No, you will not.
I'm sure I have other complaints. Oh, okay, here's what I do want to say. Here's the thing I liked about it. I thought that, you know, when I viewed the movie as a romantic comedy, it worked for me. And I was like, I'm having a good time. This is great. Like, especially the whole dancing thing. He's like, you know, I wish they had made a bigger stink about Aladdin not knowing how to dance. Like if he had said that, like, I don't know how to dance or whatever. Right. And then the genie was just like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I got you. Right. That would have been, that would have set it up a little better. Instead, they kind of made it seem like he doesn't know the dance moves, like this particular dance, right? Royal dancing or whatever.
Right.
At least that's what I extrapolated. But, I thought, once again, just looking at it from a romantic comedy perspective, it's like, as someone who can't dance, right? Like, that is the bane of my existence, is if someone says, hey, let's dance. I'm like, no! I got to go hide in the bathroom or whatever.
I'm with you, man.
And so when the genie was doing his thing, I thought, oh, this is hilarious and it's awesome. Yeah. Right. Like it was like plucked from a romantic comedy and put into this movie.
Sure.
And I loved it. And then the whole magic carpet thing, it's like, yeah, this is great. But then it goes back into the adventure thing. And I just felt like, okay, it kind of loses me again. I will say this is my last point, then I'll throw it over to you. So there's a moment in the original cartoon, right? In both movies, Jasmine doesn't recognize Aladdin. For some reason, he's got a new hat on. I don't know who this guy is anymore, right? Anyway, in the beginning, when he is rescuing Jasmine in the street market, yeah, that's it, the marketplace, he says, do you trust me? Right? And it's got that, the earnestness in his eyes and his hands all reaching out. Do you trust me? Huh? And exactly, no, you're a crazy guy. When I can see the tops of your irises, that's how you know you're crazy. And she's like, okay, yeah. And then when the magic carpet ride thing, he's like, do you trust me? Right? And then it's the exact same earnestness, right? And that's when Jasmine realizes. But they don't have the beginning, do you trust me, in this movie. So it doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean? He does the do you trust me in the marketplace?
When?
During somewhere in the parkour scene.
Are you sure? Because I rewound it.
100%.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry, folks. I'm a moron.
No.
I didn't rewind to the right part, I guess. I guess that's fair. I didn't rewind because I rewound to the part where I thought it would be, which is on the rooftop, which makes sense, right? Because you're going to do something daring. You're not going to just hey, we're on the ground. Do you trust me?
Yeah.
We're totally safe and not going to do anything daring. Do you trust me? Like, what? So I didn't rewind to that part. Anyway.
You know what it was? It was right when he takes her bracelet.
Okay.
The guy.
He takes it from the dude.
He takes it from her. It's like, well, that's my bracelet, and he says, do you trust me? And that's when he does his thing.
Why would he take her bracelet and then
to give it to the vendor that she got the bread from?
Okay. I see. Yeah. Well, okay, fine. There you go. Why would I expect to rewind to that part? That doesn't make, that's not congruent at all. Right?
It's a leap of faith either way, yeah. I don't necessarily agree with you. I have my own issues with the scene you're talking about anyway, but I don't agree with this particular method.
Here's the thing. The reason it's impactful in the original movie is because the shots are exactly the same. They're in the, in a similar situation, heights or whatever, right? They're going to do like a leap or something, right? And there's that eye connection. You know what I mean? Like, she's not all covered up, I'm in disguise. You can't see my face at all, And he's not just like, hey, do you trust me? We're on the ground. You know what I mean? And it's about a bracelet, not about your life.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying, Brian?
I understand the words you're saying, yes.
Wow, bro. Anyway.
Don't agree with your sentiment on this one.
All right. I thought it was, the fact that I missed it goes to show how they didn't even recreate what was in the cartoon here in the movie. Yet they somehow still kept the same dialogue for some reason. Do you trust me? What did you say? Like, that was like a thing that she hung on to in the beginning. You know what I mean? Why is she asking, what did you say? Is she just deaf? Is she hard of hearing now? Later on? I mean, is that why she asked? It's ridiculous. So, Brian. Oh, well, I would say I would, it's like it's half a good movie. It's half a good movie because of the rom-com aspects. I would flick this. I flick it.
Flick it?
I flick.
Let me see it. Flick that movie.
Flick. Oh, in your face. Oh, and what? They don't go to Egypt anymore? No breaking off the nose off the Sphinx? I guess they didn't want to deal with the whole, like, logistics of that. Like, that's impossible. They couldn't fly. They'd be at light speed if they were able to get there and back.
You know, I think it's one thing that's good for me with basically something I didn't encounter with Lion King, because I remember Lion King vividly. So many different scenes, so that when I saw it, you know, in this live action version, I was always comparing it. I have such little recollection of the original of Aladdin that I was not ever missing anything, except for one thing, which I will go into, which is a big miss, literally. So I never had the issue about, you know, the Egyptian visit or the opening scene even. I don't even recall if the original was told in the same format, because, you know, here we have the bookends of the genie and his wife and kids and stuff like that, and I don't recall if that was in the original or not.
No.
I will tell you, when the movie started, the very first scene, which is Will Smith singing, I guess.
I know, bro.
And I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to be a good movie at all, because that was terrible. I mean, I think musically, Will Smith has a wheelhouse, and Arabian Nights is not in it at all. As soon as he got some backup singers on that track, I was like, okay, we need a lot of backup singers here.
Right. Yeah.
He's fine in the mix, but as the lead, what's funny for me is that scene was horrible, and to me that was the low point of the movie, which is surprising, because I mean, I thought we'd have some ups and downs, and we certainly did, but nothing to me ever got that bad again. So I was like, okay, we got that out of the way. I really wish they had just chosen a different direction for him. You know, maybe sing it or something, because you're telling a story. I don't know. It obviously wasn't working. I almost felt like, you know, how movies are traditionally shot out of order. I mean, we have the location, we're going to do this. Yeah. I felt like it was shot first, you know, and then months later they went back and thought, you know, hey, we're going to teach Will Smith how to sing, and he's going to do better in these other versions. I just wish they'd gone back and fixed that first number, because it was pretty hard to watch.
They should have frickin' just hired a singer to sing over him.
I know, right? I would have been fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's animated most of the movie anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares? Overall, I really had an enjoyable time. I felt like the pace of the movie was really, you know, consistent. I would say that it kept my interest the entire time. There were a couple parts where I was cringing. That first part was one. There are a couple others I'll talk to afterwards. I enjoyed the characters, especially actors that I hadn't been previously like familiar with. So this guy Mina Massoud as Aladdin. For the most part, he was pretty good. The girl who played Jasmine, Naomi Scott, she was quite simple on the eyes,
dude. Goddess tier.
She's got like a natural charisma coming off her, you know. And this is a girl. Maybe she's got a huge career behind her already, but I don't know. She's definitely got a huge career ahead of her. You know, every scene she was in, I was like, she was great too. I mean, it wasn't just that she looked good. She was like owning every scene she was in really well. He wasn't quite as good, but he was still enjoyable. I enjoyed that I was looking at a different type of character I don't usually get to see in a heroic role. So that was kind of cool. Will Smith, I thought, did a good job. Once we got past that beginning, you know, and he chose not to do like a Robin Williams type of parody, you know, or try and get on that same level, except for when they were like punching all the jokes in during the earlier scenes.
Right.
There was one scene where he's like, I've seen that look before, and, you know, tell me about her, tell me about the girl. Yeah. And I was like charmed during that whole scene. I was like, this is really, I mean, he even turns to the monkey, right? Yeah. And says, can you believe this? Or is that right? And the monkey just kind of looks at him with a really weird look. And I I was surprised that I was enjoying that. That's, on paper, that doesn't sound like that's going to be a good scene. And I was like, this is because Will Smith he's doing a good job, and it feels sincere as well.
Yeah.
As much as a weird looking CGI-ish version of Will Smith as a genie could look, or can be sincere. You know what I mean? Because that was distracting. I mean, at first, it took me a while to get used to it. I was one of those people when I saw the trailer, I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be a problem, and they didn't really do much more to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
In the final version. They cast Naveed Negaban, I think his name is, as the what's his name?
Jafar, the vizier?
The Sultan, the dad, her dad.
Oh, okay.
And I love that guy. He's in Legion. Legion just finished up, but he played Amal Farouk in Legion. So he was like the big bad, and he was just super cool. And it was so neat to see such a different aspect of him that I was like, wow, that's a good actor. Especially when that is one of the things I remembered from the original. This like goofy short guy with white hair, big belly. And that was the original Sultan.
Yeah.
And here I was like, I kind of cared, I was like, this is cool.
I didn't care.
Well, I cared because probably because of his interaction with Jasmine. They had nice dialogue, and I felt like there was a nice little arc that happened there. Super predictable, but still, fine with me. Then we get to Marwan Kenzari as Jafar.
Yes.
Man, I'm afraid that we've got ourselves another Scar issue from Lion King.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where I kept looking like, is he going to get in some horrible accident, become Jafar? You know what I mean?
Yeah, get slashed on the throat.
Something, I mean, I remember obviously the genie. I remember Jasmine and Aladdin, and Jafar, of course, and that stupid parrot, right?
Yeah.
With Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah. Iago.
Yeah, Iago. And Jafar comes out and he's like, I'm Jafar.
Yeah.
All hail me and my little staff. What am I watching? This is terrible. So when you say miscast, man, that is an understatement.
Right.
That guy was terrible in the role. Sorry to him, but I mean, again, we're not doing spoilers. So to get to the end when he becomes all menacing and all knowing, fine. He's, anyone's going to be fine in that role because he's getting overly CG'd.
Right. But
I didn't find him menacing at all. I don't remember if the original was like a pickpocket like him or a street urchin kind of guy.
Not that I'm aware.
I thought that was I thought that was a nice little take on it. But man, I couldn't buy him at all.
Right.
Ugh. All right. So changes that I'm aware of. Obviously, you talked about the new number, the new female empowerment of Jasmine. So typically these things like start sirens start when I start hearing it, like, oh, we got to go 2019 on this, right?
Here we go. Wake up, man. Wake up.
And I felt like it was an interesting addition to this movie. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was a bolt-on. It felt like it was a nice characterization or growth from Jasmine, from what I recall in the past. Like, I felt like this would be the next step for her, and it made sense. I honestly had no problem with it all. And the new song, I thought, listen, compared to some of the ones that everyone that Will Smith was doing, I would welcome anything else at that point. So I felt like it was definitely a step up over those. It was never at the level of A Whole New World or even some of the iconic ones he sings that are only semi butchered.
Well, does it fit though, Brian? Is it in line with the rest of the music?
I mean, I don't think that any of the other ones had like native sounding instruments. I think it was all kind of poppy.
Well, fine, but poppy, we have 90s music, right? 90s style music in this movie, and then we have something that feels, at least sounds to my ear, very modern, or at least much more modern than the rest of the music. And so I think that's one of my complaints is that. Did you feel like there was any kind of dissonance there?
Like an incongruity of I felt like it matched nicely. So to me, it didn't bother me. I mean, it stood out because I I didn't recall hearing that song.
All right.
Before, but I was kind of engaged with her character. It's hard for me to be honest and just tell you that I think it was, good, because I was looking at her singing it, and that was like, she could have been as bad as Will Smith. I'd be like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Halo effect.
Hey man, just got to be honest with it.
No, hey, that's what we look for.
That scene where as Prince Ali, he comes back and he has that introduction with the Sultan and the princess, and he is
jams.
The whole scene to me was at least 2 times too long, and I was like cringing during it. I was like, to me that wasn't enjoyable, because this is a smart kid. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing necessarily, but he's obviously quick-witted and he can think on his feet.
Yeah.
And here he just looks like an idiot because they need to have that bottoming out so he can grow.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel right. It felt like it felt like they're trying to put too broad of a comedy element in here, because Will Smith's reactions were more interesting than what he was doing. And hey, we got the star, the eponymous star here next to us, he's doing all the fun stuff, like no, doing all the 2000s type of reaction shots, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, that pulled me way more out of the movie than any song did, to be honest with you.
I think that's fair, and I think that's where I started to view the movie as a romantic comedy.
Sure.
Because you're right, it didn't make sense. I mean, we've seen him interact with Jasmine already, and he's like a smooth operator. Right? Like he can handle the guards, he can handle death-defying feats, all of that, right?
Yeah,
and then he can smooth talk the girl back at his pad. And then suddenly it's like, I gotta talk to this girl that I've talked to before? Whoa, what do I say? Whoa. You know what I mean? And so at that point I was like, okay, this is a different movie. This is the movie that Guy Ritchie wanted to tell or to film.
This is the parenthetical in his action, it just says, act like you don't know what to do. All of a sudden, act like you're not the same character that we've been watching for the last hour. Okay.
Yeah.
So that scene that you talked about, trust me, that whole thing with
I
think on the carpet ride. I know you bumped on that for your reasons. I was like, I went from a state of confusion to real confusion on that whole scene, to be honest with you. That to me was like a pretty convoluted area. So it starts like he goes on the carpet ride, and she kind of figures out who he is. She calls him out on it, right? From that look, she calls out what's the character?
Abu.
Abu or Apu? Abu?
I think it's Abu, with a B as in boy.
She calls out Abu down in the street, and he says, no. So I mean, it's obviously a dead giveaway, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so she's figured it out. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
And this is like after we've kind of played up, there's going to be a women's empowerment type of section to this movie, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have Jasmine's going to be taking more of a front and center stage type of role, and which I was fine with. But now she figures something out, and then she basically gets hoodwinked because all of a sudden she doesn't know. So then I think it was like a little bit like of a misunderstanding. I didn't know after that ride if she knew or not. So I feel like the studio had the same notes and said, hey, we still aren't really sure. So they add the scene in where Aladdin and the genie are laying in bed, looking up and having this chat. And, Jasmine and her girl are sitting there having the same discussion.
Yeah.
And even then it looks like Jasmine doesn't know what's going on. But then they kind of rest on her at the end, like, or do I?
Right.
So that when she does finally find out, she is truly surprised. So I'm like, here we are trying to build this character up who's supposed to be more than, and we're going to embolden the character. And we just kind of undercut all that.
Yeah.
So I was a little upset with that whole idea. I mean, I know it kind of needs to play into the finale. So I would imagine it would have to be rewritten heavily to have her know from that point forward that he is the actual guy that she loves,
right?
But to me, I just didn't understand it. And you mentioned going backwards and trying to find that place where he says, trust me. I did rewatch that scene. I'm like,
okay,
I mean, like this whole part where I'm like, I still don't understand. Does she know or not know?
Yeah.
It seems very clear to me that she knows.
Right.
And then it seems very unclear to me that she doesn't know.
Correct.
So anyway, it's just a little bit of an editing mess probably, or a writing mess there. I mean, it's fine. I know they had to do it in service of where they were going. Ultimately, I let it go. But, you know, it was something that kind of confused me a little bit. The dancing in the movie, I felt like, of course, there was a lot of it that was just CGI, and you know, it was kind of like over the top CGI. So whatever, not really my forte. But there were parts where it looked like it was them actually dancing, but the movements were like too sharp to be real, and I felt like they were almost dancing in halftime to a beat, and then sped up double time to get back to like original time. So it gave this really weird artifice to what they were doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you felt that same way, but it was like kind of unreal, you know, kind of.
There are some parts, I noticed it early on. I can't remember where exactly.
In the mountain.
But it felt like they were playing music for the actors to lip sync to.
Yeah.
But it was like slower.
Right.
So that they could like maintain their walk and then their mouth movements or something, right? And then for us, the audience, it was played fast, like in a faster pace to match the way the song would be played in real time.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. It did feel, there were parts I'm just like, why are they doing it this way?
So bizarre.
Another thing I noticed, and I didn't mention this earlier because I thought maybe it might be a little nitpicky, but I felt like at least 50% of the camera shots were like with a steady cam or something. Like there was never or not never, but I felt like a lot of the shots we were looking at wasn't on like a machine. It wasn't on a track or anything. So when things are panning, like you feel like it, you know, some guy, like a person's strength is like waning at parts, like it's bobbing or something, you know. That's what I mean. There's like human movements with this camera, and I felt like, why don't they just put it on a track, or why isn't it on like a jib or something? You know, so that you know, it doesn't feel imperfect. But I really felt the presence of the camera, is what I'm saying, in this movie. And so, you know, these are the things that took me out. Like, oh, that's right, I'm watching a show. I'm not living it. It's not actually happening in front of me. These are actors. So it had, here's what I'll say. It had a feeling of like a stage performance. Like, I don't know if you've seen musicals that are presented on a stage and then filmed, but then they try to get creative with the camera angles to make it feel like it's more than just being on a stage.
Right.
Does this make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And I felt like it had a little bit of that feeling.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess the other side of that is that I felt like the few action scenes, the parkour scene and the scene where they're getting chased by Iago when he turns more into like a dragon parrot.
Right.
I thought they were very well done. I thought like they were dynamic. I don't know what it was about that second chase scene, but I felt like there were actual stakes all of a sudden. And it was probably because there was a little bit of a power dynamic changing, like the lamp kept changing possession.
Right.
And I was like, this is making it fun and interesting. And I'm having a much better time than I ever expected in this movie. So what I do not like about it, to me, was essentially nitpicking, with the exception of that, you know, that opening number and this whole part about not knowing who he is. I feel like you could very easily have solved the not knowing who he is by showing him through, you know, like maybe when he's presented for the first time to the Sultan and her from their perspective, and just do that, you know, he looks a little different, and then wrap around and then it's him and it's a reveal for us to see.
You know, I thought they were going to do that when he was looking in the mirror and the genie was explaining, it's genie magic. You look different to everybody else. You're supposed to show a different person in the mirror.
Exactly.
Like he's got a big nose now or something, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was thinking like, well, is she seeing him? I don't understand. It looks like she sees him.
Right.
So
that's why I was confused. I was like, okay, he looks exactly the same, except his hat is different.
Right. Just like in the cartoon.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, it was obviously a choice. I just think it was a little bit confusing, and it could have been I probably would have gone a different direction personally with it. But other than that, I felt like it was an enjoyable movie. It surprised me. I didn't go in with low expectations. I went in with kind of open to this one, because I knew we were going to have the talking animal issue of Lion King, trying to emote.
Yeah.
We're just going to have like, a parrot mouthing off. That's fine. He's not emoting. He's just saying things. So I was like, well, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it won't. I don't know. So I didn't have low expectations, and I still felt like it was an enjoyable movie. So I'm going to dig deep and pick this one, my friend.
Wow. Look at you, bro. Look at you. Okay, well, there you go. We disagree. I mean, there were like I said, there were parts that I liked. Half the movie is good to me.
You need a remake of this, and it's just told through Jasmine's eyes. It's all about Jasmine.
I don't know that I would enjoy that either, Brian.
You just hear the mountain like off in the distance.
Exactly. What's going on over there?
I think that was more like Young Frankenstein.
Diamond in the raw. Why is our population decreasing? Wouldn't that be funny? Like if Aladdin went somewhere else, or he died or something.
Yeah.
And Jafar just keeps like sending people. You're next. Just a line of people.
You're next.
Yeah,
I'm Jafar.
Exactly.
Evil. Got it, poor guy.
All right.
Who's the guy from Star Wars and Riz Ahmed? Is that his name?
Yes, Riz Ahmed.
I felt like this was a knockoff version of Riz Ahmed, and he would have been bad in this too.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was like a lower, caliber version of him. At least he can act. This guy was just unbelievable in the role.
Yeah, totally.
Unfortunate. Too bad.
Have you seen Four Lions, Brian?
I think I did. It sounds familiar. He's in that.
It's a British movie. Riz Ahmed is in it. He's the lead. One of the leads. It's about terrorists.
It sounds familiar.
One of my favorite comedies.
Oh, okay.
Watch it as soon as you can. Anyway, if you enjoyed this this episode, please give us a like and subscribe.
If you would pick it. Would you pick this?
Yeah.
Would you pick this?
Pick.
I'm talking in our
the like button. Pick the subscribe button.
Pick it. Don't flick it or flick it. Flick that subscribe button.
Okay.
Flick a friend. Tell them to flick this and.
Okay, take it easy. Take it easy. Jesus. Take it easy. I'm like, where are you? Because I flipped the mirror already. Anyway.
Oh. You flicked
what?
it?
What are you doing? I didn't flip you. That's where I am. You found me. And we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
We need a flick sound.
Yes, we do.